Okay, this is W1REX Rex, and what we have here is the final build for the Rockmite 2++. This is the main board right here. The band modules go across it in two spots, and we have all the connectors on the side. So we're going to build this thing hopefully from start to finish in one take. And what I've done is, because I do this to make it fast, I've got a foam strip here, and I've sorted out all the resistors. I'm going to start with all the parts that are low to the board. And so resistors, then I'll put the sockets in, then I'll put the caps in, then I'll put the hairpin stuff, the things that stand up higher, and I'll gradually build the board from down to the highest point. So so what I'm looking for now on the board is, of course, I've sorted all these parts are on the bill of materials, and what I've done is I've started here at all the non-band specific parts. Those are the things that go on the main board, the things that don't relate to a particular band or frequency. And there's the list of them all the way down pretty much until you get to the transistors and whatnot. So those are all the common parts to all Rockmites, and I've taken just the resistors and put them on that tab and put them in order so I can find things rather quickly. And what I'll do is there's two things you can do. You can go to the sheet, find a resistor, and then find where it is, but I think it's a lot easier because the list of materials is organized by value, and you can quickly find the designators on that list, because every designator is pointed out in the list, so you can find them pretty quickly between the C's and the R's. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the board and I'm going to find the parts find locations I want to fill. I can cross-reference to the bill of materials and find the part. First, I'm going to put my little board holders on. These are the X brass set board holders, and these help me keep the board up in the air when I'm soldering parts on. This is in lieu of having a big complicated kind of a gommy, what I would call a gommy board holder. I have several different types of board holders. I don't use them anymore. I find this to be quite satisfactory and convenient in the fact that it doesn't take up a ton of room in my toolbox. So there I have it. So I can put parts in. I got plenty of clearance to put parts in, and then when I flip it over, I've got a stable board to solder against. So here we go. So I'm going to start one end of the board and work down, and I can see I'm just looking for things that are flat and lay down close to the board. So here's the first one, is R0, which I happen to know is a 0 ohm resistor. And all the resistors on this board, if they're laying down flat, are 0.4 inch spacing, and I can go and use my little lead bending tool to bend the resistor at 0.4 of an inch. So I can just put that in there, slide it down, fits perfectly, spread the leads a little bit, and go to the next one. Resistor leads are a little bit long, so okay. Looking down here, I can see R15, R16. So I go and look at R15, R16, and I see that 15 is a 47K, and 16, well, let's just take 15 first. Okay, so R15 first is a 47K. So here's the 47Ks up here. I'll take one off the stack and put them back, and I will bend it to 0.47. Stick it in the R15, and that's ready to solder. I'm going to bend it down a little bit further this time. So the idea is I can bulk insert maybe 6 or 7 parts just to make the build go fast. You don't have to do every single one. You know, put it in, then solder, put it in, solder. It makes it easier to do things in batches because it's quicker that way. So R16 is next, right next to it, and I see R16. Now this is a 100 ohm resistor, which is right 100 ohm resistor. Okay, we'll do a 0.4 inch spacing. Put that in. I'm going to put my finger on it, and then I'm going to spread the leads apart. Okay. Going across, I can see here's D1 and D2, and I can find D1, D2 are the two 4148s, and there's just a few flat parts, and here's the, whoops, I knocked the connectors off of this one, so I'll put this one up here just to show you. I've done the same thing with the all the other non-resistor parts, basically capacitors and some connectors and whatnot, and I have my little strip of what's where. So I'll take the 4148s out, and I'll take 2 of them, cut them off the strip, and put the other 2 back. And now I will bend them at 0.4 inch spacing. Get that guy in the middle. There's 1. There's 2. Now I can see diodes have got a bar on them showing the orientation of the diode, and that's where the black bar is. So the black bars, oops, guess what? Those are not 0.4 inch spacing because the diodes are 0.3 inch. But I can yank them into position carefully. So I'll pull that into place. Okay, bend them over. There we go. I'll get the other one, which goes the other way. Okay, so I'm going to pull the top in, bottom in, and I'll pull the bottom in on this one. Okay, so there's 2 diodes in there. Going further down the board, up R1. So I look up on the list, R1 is a 1K ohm. And these are the 1K ohms here. I'm going to pull one off the strip. I'll cut it first. There's a 1K, 0.4 inches. These are 1%, so they're not quite the same value. And I checked them ahead of time with my voltometer when it's a 1%. There's a 1K ohm. Okay, next one would be R3. I see R3 on the list. Is a 4.7K, which is one of these guys right here. Okay, that's R3. Push it down to the board while I bend the leads. Next one on the list is over here, looks like R2. R2 is R2. Well, it says on the sheet R2 is a 50K potentiometer, but I know that's not right. So I'm going to go look at the schematic. And I guess I have to correct that baby, and that is right around the R2 is a 4.7K. That's the input to the op amp. So another 4.7K, which is this one right here. Yep. Okay. Measure 0.4 R2. Some people have to make sure all the color stripes are going the same way, but I can read them forwards and backwards. I don't particularly care how it's put in. R7's next. Right there. R7 is a 100K resistor, which is way up here. I just cut that one off. Pull it out. Bend it to 0.47. I mean, bend it to 0.4, not 0.47. R7. I'm getting quite a few of them on there. I'm running out of them. Here's an R6 right here. R6 is a 10 ohm resistor, which should be one of these 1%ers. I'll bend it. Of course, the other thing you can do is that, instead of putting them in the foam, you can take all the resistors, get them organized, and then bend all the ones that are 0.4 spacing, and so they're all pre-bent. So you can just again, every time you do something repetitively in a mass fashion, you end up saving time. Just like Model T, you can put one bolt on, you do it over and over and over again. And we've got, let's see what else is on here. We've got, I don't see anything in there. I see now the 5818. So that's this guy, right? Oops, that's this guy over here on the other thing. Now that one looks like it is a 0.4. It's a diode that's 0.4 spacing because it's a big diode. It's the size of a resistor, not a little small diode. So, and again, the bar is going in this direction to the left. So I'll bend that out. So that's all the flat resistors and the diode. So now when I put this upside down to do the soldering, you'll notice that it's completely, I can move it all around any angle I want, and I should be able to get in there and solder these guys quite nicely. So I'm going to use my Amazon special. I'll bend off a hunk of wire. I'll use my tip cleaner to clean the tip before I start going. Put a little dab of solder on the tip. It's now very dry. And then I'll just go right down the line. You notice I put the iron on, wait just a second for things to heat up, and add just a little dab of solder. You should see a nice little fillet there. You don't want to put in too much. Now, I can work on the back side, or I could swing this around and go right down the alley. There we go. Oh, there was nothing there. I'll go to this next one. Nothing. Yeah, I just noticed that my iron tip is kind of wiggly. I think I changed the tip and I did not tighten it. I did not tighten it completely, or else the heat loosened it up a little bit. So I'm gonna move it a little bit. I'm moving this way. I kind of like the solder that way, so I'm now in line for these two guys. So I'm gonna go I'll get the bottoms. I can probably come in from the top side on this guy. And I'll come in. My main angle of attack is to dodge these other leads, so I swing it around so I got a clear entry for my soldering iron to the pad I want to solder. So here's one down here. Okay, one right there. Now, again, I could probably do the back side, but it might be easier just to go this way and come in like so. And the idea of being able to swing this board at any angle just appeals to me big time. It quickens. I don't have to flip it over. I don't have to do any crazy stuff. I just gotta swing it around until I get the nice angle of attack for my iron. Okay, let's see. Oh, this one here. Okay, 1, 2. Those are done. Oops, I see one in here. One, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Looks like I got them all. So, I'll put my iron back. I'll get my flush cutters and I will start cutting, and I'll make sure before I cut it that I've got a nice solder.